Hi and welcome. I'm Dr. Mittag. Thank you for joining. You're probably here because you're experiencing fatigue, insomnia, irritability, or some of the other symptoms associated with adrenal fatigue. And I'm assuming that you're looking for an understanding of what's going on, and more than that, how to get your normal energy back. First of all, I'd like to show you that you're not alone. For the last 4 months, I've posed the following question in an ad that I've posted on Facebook. And I'm guessing that you may have seen this ad or answered this ad. Here's the question. What is your greatest challenge regarding your energy level? And/or what is your greatest challenge with regard to how stress impacts your health right now? And here are some typical responses that I've seen to this question. I'm tired all the time. I have no motivation. Lack of energy. I cannot handle stress. I get super fatigued mid-afternoon to early evening. I have to conserve my energy every day. And if I get stressed or don't sleep enough, I can't keep up with anything. I get irritable, beyond exhausted. 2,432 people answered this question when they participated in the first version of my adrenal quiz. And in this same quiz, I also asked another question. Here's that question. Have you had difficulty getting the right information for your health concerns? And here's a chart of the responses. 80% of people said that yes, it's difficult getting the right information for their health concerns, meaning for adrenal fatigue. Just 18% said no, and 2% said sometimes. So how are people getting information? Here are some of the responses that people gave. I find what I can on the internet. I heard my problem is adrenal glands, not the thyroid. I really don't know where to start. My doctor listens but says my synthroid should take care of everything. This last response is why I decided to do this workshop, or these last responses. There is a lot of confusion about how to get your normal energy back when it comes to adrenal fatigue. I've been helping people resolve adrenal fatigue for many years, so I know that I can help. So today I'd like to try to give you a clearer understanding of adrenal fatigue and show you how to get your normal energy back. This information would still be valuable even if fatigue is not a problem. The information will show you how to continue to enjoy a high energy level in spite of the stresses that arise in all of our lives today. And here's what you'll learn in the next 45 minutes, 30 to 45 minutes. First, we'll see how your body generates energy. We'll see how this is affected by the foods you eat. You'll understand the needs of your cells' energy factories, the mitochondria. Then you'll see how your two major energy regulators, the adrenals and thyroid, regulate your body's energy levels. We'll see how the glands affect each other and what happens when they are overburdened. We'll see how your body spends energy and what drains your energy. We'll look at the immune system, chronic infections, the energy burden of toxins, and also how certain foods rob your body's energy. Then we'll look at energy solutions with diet, superfoods, nutraceuticals, exercise, and stress management. I'm not just going to throw a lot of information at you for you to sort out. I'll show you step by step how you can begin the shortest path to recovering your normal energy. In order to be compliant with the FDA, let me say that neither these statements nor anything I present in this webinar today has been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. The information and products mentioned here are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Before I go any further, let me tell you just a little bit more who I am. My name is Dr. Harlan Mittag. I'm trained as a nutritionist, acupuncturist, and chiropractor. and I've been in practice for 30 years in the suburbs of Minneapolis, Minnesota. I received my bachelor's degree in human biology from Stanford University, my doctorate degree from Northwestern Health Sciences University. I've practiced Reiki healing for 40 years. I've trained in reconnective healing and Qigong. Most important, I practice functional medicine and have worked with adrenal fatigue clients for many years. The quiz that I've been running on Facebook consists of 8 questions that assess the severity of adrenal fatigue. And so far, 6,228 people have participated in the 2 different versions of my adrenal quiz. And I'd like to show you the results because I think it'll inform you as to what people are experiencing and the ramifications of adrenal fatigue. So first question, are you a man or woman? 96% of the respondents are women, 4% are men. And we know that more women suffer adrenal fatigue. It's probably not this severe in terms of the 96%. That's probably more of a reflection of Facebook. Question 2, how old are you? So most of the respondents who were women were ages 40 to 59. 70% of the respondents were between ages 40 and 59. And since the average age of menopause in the US is 51, and there's a generally 5 years before menopause is considered perimenopause, this group of women who are experiencing adrenal fatigue are also, most of them are perimenopausal or in menopause. And that's not a coincidence. Question 3, do you work out or get aerobic exercise? 52% don't have enough energy to do aerobic exercise. And this reflects a depletion of cortisol levels. Question 4, do you experience anxiety, irritability, or depressed mood? 96% of people experience occasional to constant anxiety, irritability, and depressed mood. Question number 5, do you experience difficulty focusing, brain fog, or trouble remembering things? So 58% said that it makes it hard to function, and all but 2% said that it was an issue. Question number 6, how well do you sleep? 50% have some trouble sleeping, 41% rarely sleep well. That's 91% of people report difficulty sleeping. Question number 7, how much stress do you have? 45% say they have stresses that aren't so bad that they can't relax when there's time to do so. 53% say that more than half say that their stress is constant and that they are unable to let down at all. Question number 8, how are your energy reserves? 60% say they have enough energy to get done what needs to be done and no more. 36% say their energy level is so low they can't function. So you're hearing what the experience of adrenal fatigue is for many, many people. Let's ask and find out, what is adrenal fatigue? Imagine all your body's energy stored in a bank. It's called the Energy Reserve Bank. Deposits of energy into this bank are made by the mitochondria within your cells. The mitochondria are constantly burning fats, protein, and carbohydrate and turning it into usable cell energy. And this becomes your energy reserve. In addition to fuel to burn, the mitochondria need specific vitamins and minerals to help them burn the fuel. They also need antioxidants to protect themselves from being burned up in the process of burning fuel. It's protection from free radicals. All of the mitochondria in our cells together become our energy generator. And this energy generator of ours needs fuel, nutrients, and antioxidants to make energy for us. For this discussion, we'll say that all of this energy made by the mitochondria is deposited into the energy reserve bank and held there. Now, your body has to regulate how it spends this energy. It gives the responsibility for spending energy to two different organs, the thyroid and the adrenals. These two organs have different responsibilities. The thyroid spends energy on basic needs, what we'll call basic needs. When I say basic needs, what I'm really referring to is basal metabolism. And the thyroid secretes thyroid hormone, which regulates our basal metabolism. You can think of your body as being like an automobile. The fuel is the carbohydrates, protein, and fat in the food you eat. The mitochondria are the spark plugs that burn the fuel. The basal metabolism is your engine's idle speed. When your car is sitting still and the engine running, that is the engine's idle speed. In the body, this idle speed, the body's basal metabolism, is controlled by the thyroid. Now back to the energy reserve bank. For our analogy, let's say that the thyroid is in charge of paying day-to-day bills. These are the predictable bills that come every month and never change. So the thyroid withdraws a steady amount of energy every day. That's your basal metabolism. You can evaluate your basal metabolism with the Barnes temperature test, which is also a good way to screen for hypothyroidism. When your basal temperature runs low, that is when it averages below 97.8 degrees Fahrenheit. Your basal metabolism is lower than normal. So to summarize, the thyroid regulates a level of the body's energy expenditure that we call our basal metabolism, and this basal metabolism is reflected by the basal temperature. Our adrenals withdraw energy from the energy reserve bank as well. They are the other main energy regulator in our body. But the adrenals are different than the thyroid. The adrenals withdraw energy to handle emergencies. In our analogy of paying bills, these could be emergencies like needing to pay for the dentist, or having to buy an airline ticket to visit an ailing relative. Our adrenals help us to respond to stressful events by mobilizing our body's energy so that we can meet the challenge at hand, whatever it may be. So continuing with the car analogy, I also explain the adrenals as being comparable to the gas pedal on your car. In your body, when your body needs energy quickly, it uses your adrenal glands to rev things up and give you energy. The hormones released by the adrenals mobilize your body's energy systems and give you the energy you need at that moment. For instance, let's say you go jogging around the block. When you do, you're increasing your body's need for energy and asking your body to tap into your energy reserves. Your adrenals respond by mobilizing your energy resources and also by shutting down systems that are not vital to you while you are jogging. Your thyroid doesn't respond to this demand for sudden energy, but your adrenals do. It's the job of the adrenal glands to orchestrate this mobilization of your energy resources, but your adrenals are activated by more than just physical activity or exercise. Your adrenals are called on whenever your body experiences a stressor. And in this sense, a stressor is anything that demands more energy from your body. A stressor could be a virus. Your immune system needs energy to fight off a viral infection like a cold, the flu, or herpes. Having surgery. Even surgery that corrects a problem, like removing plaque from a blocked artery, is still a stressor. The surgery is traumatic to your body, and you'll need to tap into your energy resources to heal afterwards. Spraining your ankle or being injured in an auto accident is the same. Your body activates the adrenal stress response after all of these events to mobilize your energy resources. It can even be the emotional stress of having to work long hours or working for an abusive boss. The emotional stresses are just as activating of the adrenal glands as the other stresses. Your body is programmed or hardwired to deal with all of these challenges or stressors, which require extra energy, in the same way. No matter what form the stressor may come in, whenever your body is faced with demands for extra energy, the adrenals are called on to mobilize your energy resources. Scientists sometimes refer to this adrenal response as the fight or flight response. This is a reference to an animal's survival response. And as an example, when an antelope happens upon a lion on a plain in Africa, both animals' adrenal systems kick into gear. The antelope needs energy to run or flee, and the lion needs energy to chase. So back to the energy reserve bank. We now understand the two energy regulators that control our energy withdrawals, the thyroid and the adrenals. Why do these energy regulators begin to have problems or to malfunction? Let's start with the thyroid. When the thyroid gland is not functioning, basal metabolism drops. As a result, your basal temperature goes down. You tend to have cold hands and feet. The fatigue of hypothyroidism tends to not vary much. You tend to feel like you're dragging all the time without highs or lows. That's different from the fatigue of adrenal dysfunction, which is often more variable, with more of a tendency to have highs and lows. Back to the thyroid, researchers say that 90 to 97% of all hypothyroidism is due to Hashimoto's disease, an autoimmune disease. In autoimmune diseases, our body attacks itself. In Hashimoto's disease, the immune system attacks the thyroid and disables it so that it can't make enough thyroid hormone. Conventional medicine says the cause of autoimmune disease is unknown. In alternative medicine, we find that an overactive immune system is the cause of most autoimmune diseases or illnesses. The cause of this excessive immune activity is often a leaky gut, chronic infection, and/or a heavy body burden of toxins. If most of hypothyroidism is caused by autoimmune reactions, what causes adrenal fatigue? The answer is simpler for the adrenals. Too much stress is the answer. We saw previously how many different types of stress make demands on the adrenals. When there are too many stressors over time, or a single stressor is too severe, the adrenals give out. When I say the adrenals give out, this usually doesn't happen all at once. It's a progression. In response to stress, the adrenals secrete three major hormones. These are norepinephrine, epinephrine, and cortisol. Norepinephrine makes you more awake, aware, and focused. Epinephrine stimulates feelings of anxiety and instigates the desire to flee, to run, like the Dickens. Cortisol further increases alertness and hypervigilance by continuing to activate the central nervous system and brain. Cortisol also raises blood sugar so that the brain and muscles get the fuel they need to handle the stress response. When there's too much demand on the adrenals, it's the cortisol response that we see change. With healthy adrenals, there is a consistent 24-hour pattern to cortisol secretion. Cortisol is high in the morning upon wakening, drops during the rest of the day, and is low at night. Cortisol may go up at other times during the day, say if you went for a jog, but these spikes are temporary. This stage of normal cortisol activity is Adrenal Type 1R. The 1 is for stage 1 and the R is for responsive. It means that the adrenals are responding to stresses as they should be. So cortisol is going up when you have a stressful event, and it's serving you in the way it's supposed to. When we start to endure too much stress that doesn't go away, our cortisol level goes up and stays up initially. Here's what it looks like on a lab test that measures cortisol levels 4 times over a 24-hour period. Our cortisol level goes up, and instead of coming back down the way it's supposed to, it stays up. That's because the stress doesn't go away. Remember that cortisol makes the brain hypervigilant. High cortisol levels at night prevent the brain from shutting down for sleep. So high cortisol levels are the most often cause of insomnia. We call this a 2S pattern, or type of adrenal function. The 2 really means stage 2 after, or the second stage after normal adrenal responsiveness. The S stands for stressed, meaning stressed adrenals. Type 2S adrenals are how the adrenals try to protect us from chronic stress by maintaining high cortisol levels. Eventually, the adrenals are not able to sustain the demand for cortisol, and cortisol levels drop. Then you get a lab result that looks like this, where the cortisol levels are low in some spots, or even all across the 24-hour cycle. This is what we call Adrenal Type 3D. The 3 is the next stage of adrenal depletion after stage 2, and the D is for depleted adrenals. So in review, in alternative medicine, we identify 3 types of adrenal function called adrenal types. They are Adrenal Type 1R, or responsive adrenals, Adrenal Type 2S, or stressed adrenals, and Adrenal Type 3D, or depleted adrenals. It's important to note that we're not talking about diseased adrenals or any type of diagnosis here. Modern medicine has different criteria for evaluating adrenal function than alternative medicine. In modern medicine, disease of the adrenals that results in adrenal failure is called Addison's disease, and that's not what we're talking about here. So what do we do with this information? How do you get your life back? How do you get your normal energy level back? Let me give you an overview of the alternative medicine's approach to reversing adrenal fatigue. We saw that the underlying cause of adrenal fatigue is the constant demand being made on the adrenals. The adrenals get worn out. This person who is having to constantly make emergency withdrawals from the adrenal reserve bank needs some rest, some good food, and some healing. There are 2 main ways to heal the adrenals. First, you want to remove as many of the stressors as possible. This gives your adrenals the rest they need. Second, you want to feed the adrenals to help them to rejuvenate. So let's look first at adrenal stressors. You may have seen a graphic that looks like this, showing a whole bunch of adrenal stressors. This can be confusing, so I've broken all of these down into 4 groups of stressors. The first category of stressors are psychological and emotional stresses. These are all of your perceived dangers. Perceived dangers would include anything unnerving or scary in your life. It can even be something scary that you see on television. It could be a thunderstorm warning on the weather news, or emotional stresses like being in a difficult relationship, or not being in a relationship and feeling lonely, financial stresses, and so on. The second category of stressors is physical stress and injuries. Physical stress includes things like strenuous exercise, lack of sleep, working long hours. Injuries include sport injuries, whiplash from a car accident, chronic pain from osteoarthritis, recovering from a surgery, or even a sunburn. All of these physical stresses activate and tax your adrenal system. The next category of stresses is challenges to the immune system. This includes all infections, viral, bacterial, parasitic, autoimmune disease, even getting a cold. It also includes food allergies and food sensitivities, like gluten sensitivity. And finally, the last diet stressor category of stressors is dietary stressors. And a major offender in the diet is sugar and starches. Both sweets and starches raise blood sugar quickly, and this causes a surge of excess insulin to be released. And as a result, blood sugars drop below normal, what we call hypoglycemia. And hypoglycemia triggers a stress response and causes the adrenals to release cortisol to bring the blood sugar back up to normal. So eating starches and sweets puts you on a sugar stress roller coaster and is a stress to your adrenals. The other major stressor in most people's diets is the caffeine in coffee and soda pop. Coffee stimulates the adrenals and gives a temporary energy burst, so we get in the habit of trying to get ourselves moving with coffee, particularly if the adrenals are not giving us the energy we need. This stimulation may feel good at the time, but it further stresses the adrenals. Some cars still have RPM meters on the dashboard, and you'll always see a red zone at the top. The car engine is able to rev up to this speed, but you have to be careful because you dramatically increase the wear on the engine. Revving your adrenals up with coffee is the same as revving your car up into this red zone. It causes a lot of wear and tear, and it's one of the things you don't want to do. So we've just looked at the four major categories of adrenal stresses. Look at these categories and see what category or categories most applies to you. Could be all of them, but it's probably going to be one more than another, particularly if you think back to your history and when you started to lose your energy. So think not just of today, but over the past 3 months or so. Where are most of your adrenal stressors? Once you identify your major specific adrenal stressors, you know better what to focus on and what you need to eliminate to give your adrenals some rest. If it's psychological stressors, let's say a difficult relationship, now you know that's what you have to focus on. If it's chronic infections, now you know that you have to focus on boosting your immunity. If it's diet that's out of control with too many starches and sweets, now you know that's what you need to focus on. In addition to removing your adrenal stressors, you want to feed your adrenals. This notion of being able to nourish an organ back to optimal health with the right nutritional support is really foreign to many of us. So let me explain a little bit further. Hippocrates, the father of modern medicine, said, "Let food be thy medicine, and medicine be thy food." So what does that mean specifically for the adrenals? Number one, you want to eat organic. And why organic? Organic foods contain higher concentrations of nutrients than non-organic foods. They are also free of the toxins that interfere with your body's energy production in the mitochondria. So organic foods will provide better nutrition to your whole body and your adrenals without burdening your mitochondria, liver, and immune system. In addition to eating organic, you want to eat an alkaline diet. This is a diet that creates an alkaline response in the body rather than an acidic one. Roughly speaking, fruits and vegetables are alkaline-forming foods, and everything else is acidic-forming. But there's a little bit more to it than that. I'll put a copy of the alkaline-forming foods in the Adrenal Type guide for you. Number 2, you want to supplement a few vitamins and minerals that are specifically helpful to the adrenals. People think that we should be able to get our nutrients from food, especially if it's organic food. And this was true about 100 years ago, but it's not true today. Our food today lacks the nutrients it had just a couple of generations ago. Here's a graph that shows the average calcium, magnesium, and iron content of cabbage, lettuce, tomatoes, and spinach between 1914 and 1997. You can see how these healthy foods have lost a lot of their nutritional value. Specific nutrients for the adrenals are vitamin C, the B vitamins, calcium, magnesium, and zinc. The highest concentration of vitamin C in any tissue of the body is in the adrenal glands. So, in addition to an organic diet, you want to supplement these vitamins and minerals. You've heard of superfoods, and you've probably seen them advertised everywhere. Some of these are very good and are helpful to add to your diet. But I want to tell you about the superfoods that specifically support our energy levels. In addition to helping restore energy levels, they also help to protect the entire stress system. In truth, these superfoods aren't new. They've been used for thousands of years in the ancient healing systems of Ayurveda, Chinese medicine, and Tibetan medicine. And also, modern medicine is now confirming the amazing benefits of these superfoods, particularly for stress and for the adrenal system. Researchers call them adaptogens, and adaptogens are edible foods that protect and strengthen the body's stress system. They increase our ability to resist stressors. They have a normalizing or balancing effect. They counteract or prevent the disturbances that are otherwise caused by stressors, and they themselves do not cause a disturbance in the body. Some of these adaptogens, some of the best ones, are eleuthero, rhodiola rosea, ashwagandha, and skullcap. And I'm not going to go into specific benefits of the adaptogens because of FDA restrictions. I do have a product that comes with an information sheet that describes all of the benefits and cites all of the research and does it in an FDA compliant way that's very, very specific. And so if you, and it is a product that has eleuthero, rhodiola, skullcap, and ashwagandha. So if you chose to get that, then you would have that information. Adaptogens have been shown to work better in combination with each other, and so that's why often when you see adaptogen products, you'll see a variety of them combined together. And so, in addition to an organic diet, a low glycemic diet, and some specific vitamins and minerals for the adrenals, you'll also want to take an adaptogen supplement that includes a number of adaptogens like the ones that I've just mentioned. But here's a warning about buying adaptogens. And actually this applies to buying any nutritional supplements these days. We know that our food is being poisoned by agriculture and food processing. And nutritional supplements are in no better shape, unfortunately. So I want to tell you about a study that made this pretty clear. In 2015, the Attorney General of the state of New York commissioned a study of the top-selling store brands of herbal supplements being sold at 4 national retailers. They bought and tested 78 bottles of the leading brands of herbal supplements from a dozen Walmart, Target, Walgreens, and GNC locations across New York State. And here are some of the findings of that study, and I quote, "A popular store brand of ginseng pills at Walgreens promoted for physical endurance and vitality contained only powdered garlic and rice. 3 out of 6 herbal products at Target, ginkgo biloba, St. John's wort, and valerian root, did not have the herbs on the labels. Instead, they contained powdered rice, beans, peas, and wild carrots. At GNC, herbal pills contain unlisted ingredients such as powdered legumes and soybeans as fillers." Summarizing the results of the study, the New York Times stated that 4 out of 5 of the products did not contain any of the herbs listed on their labels. So how do you guarantee that you're getting a good product? The best way is to buy your products from a doctor. There are a small group of supplement manufacturers that sell exclusively to doctors, and these companies are held to a higher standard because their customers, basically doctors of alternative medicine, hold them to that higher standard. These nutritional companies know where their raw materials come from, and in this case, the adaptogen superfood plants. They know where they're coming from, and they test every batch for quality and purity. This means doing lab testing on all of the ingredients to verify that the plants are authentic, and also that they have been grown correctly so that they contain the active ingredients that provide the benefit. So for instance, this label shows that the ashwagandha is standardized to contain 1.5% withanolides. This is because the withanolides in ashwagandha are the main active ingredient that provide its health benefits for stress. You'll also see on this label that the part of the plant that's used is specified. That's because the research studies that demonstrate this plant's benefit use the roots. And also in the traditions of Ayurveda, Chinese medicine, and others, it is specifically the roots that were used. In the case of ashwagandha, you'll find products on the market that use the leaves of the plant instead of the roots without telling you, because the leaf is cheaper and they can get away with it. As I said at the beginning of this webinar, I've been helping patients with low energy and fatigue for 30 years in my clinical practice. Over that time span, I've learned that there is not an absolute one-fits-all solution, but I've seen what the key issues are in restoring normal energy levels and have learned how to do it. And I realize that I'm not your doctor, but with my experience in treating adrenal fatigue, I can help. My intent is to show you the quickest path back to high energy levels. It's interesting that the origins of the word doctor is from the Latin word docere, which means to teach. So in Latin, docere becomes doctor, which means teacher. And as an aside, physician means naturalist and comes from the Greek word physis, which means nature. So back to my goal. My goal is to show you the shortest route to healthy energy levels based on my years of experience. And let me just review. Here's the path that I've suggested. Focus on your adrenals first. They are a pivotal piece of the energy puzzle for most of us in today's stressful world. Now, I'm not saying that they are the only piece, just the best place to start. Remember that your adrenals regulate your energy. What if the gas pedal on your car didn't work? Your car would be useless. So now let's review how you do that. Number one, first you identify your adrenal stressors and remove them to the best of your ability. When I say remove them, what I mean is handle them as best you can. So for example, if you have chronic pain from an injury, for instance, Focus on relieving the pain because that is a constant stress to your system. Whether it involves seeing a doctor, a chiropractor, a physical therapist, an acupuncturist, or a massage therapist, or avoiding certain activities, do what you can to alleviate the pain. Remember that adrenal stressors include psychological, emotional stressors, physical stressors and injuries, immune system stressors, and dietary stressors. There is a list of these stressors and a convenient checklist in the Adrenal Type guide that you can use. Number 2, then you help to restore the adrenals with a colorful, low glycemic organic diet. It's colorful because it focuses on fruits and vegetables and avoids white foods made of sugar and flours. This is an alkalinizing diet as well. You add to this a supplement with the key vitamins and minerals that support adrenal health. All of this is spelled out, by the way, in the Adrenal Type guide. Number 3, then you take what I call superfoods for creating high energy levels, the adaptogens. If you don't have a good source of adaptogens, consider taking Doctor's Holistic RX adaptogen combination, the one called Adaptogen Advantage. Adaptogen Advantage contains 4 of the major adaptogens: ashwagandha root extract, rhodiola rosea root extract, eleuthero root extract, and skullcap root extract in clinically effective doses. Adaptogen Advantage also contains L-theanine and phosphatidylserine. And when you purchase Adaptogen Advantage, you'll also get an information sheet that describes in detail the benefits of each of these ingredients, along with citations for the research studies that substantiate them. And Adaptogen Advantage is manufactured in the United States under stringent quality controls for purity and potency. And just a note, I look at adaptogens as a specialized superfood that protects your body against unnecessary energy drains and also increases your energy levels, but superfoods don't act as drugs. So while you may experience more energy right away, it may also take a while, depending on the extent of depletion of your energy system. And for that reason, I recommend taking adaptogens for a minimum of 3 months. This is why I've put together 3 bottles at a discounted price. That gives you a 3-month supply so that you can really give these adaptogen superfoods time to restore your energy system. And when you buy Adaptogen Advantage, you'll get the Adrenal Type guide. This contains all of the information in this webinar, plus details and charts and lists of, for instance, the foods to eat and the foods to avoid, and alkaline foods and acidic foods and so forth. All of the resources are there. And in addition, when you purchase a bottle of Adaptogen Advantage, you'll be invited to join my private Adrenal Fatigue Facebook group. And I've made this group private so that you can share and ask questions without, with having privacy, without feeling self-conscious. And you'll also be invited to my upcoming webinars. And these monthly webinars are designed to give you valuable information on different aspects of natural healing with a focus on getting your energy back. And next month, I'll focus on how energy levels are affected by the hormonal changes which occur in perimenopause and menopause and what you can do about it. And in future months, I'll do webinars on hypothyroidism, detoxification, leaky gut, and also mind-body healing. And that's just the beginning. So when you purchase Adaptogen Advantage, you get all of these benefits. You get the Adrenal Type guide. You get the access to the private Adrenal Fatigue Facebook group, and I will be in there answering questions. You also get the invitation to the future webinars, and you also get the current discount on Adaptogen Advantage if you buy before the end of this webinar I will extend that discount in perpetuity, meaning you'll always be assured to get that discount. So if you are on the fence, then please consider it carefully, because you probably want to get this discount. And there is a 30-day guarantee on Adaptogen Advantage. So if you have any problem with it whatsoever, you return it and we'll refund your money without any questions. And again, I hope that the information that I've provided has been helpful to you, and I'm open to questions.